The chronological Bible reading for today, March 6th, is Numbers chapters 26 and 27. It's another census. God wanted to make sure there was a record of the number of men, fighting-aged men, who were entering the promised land. And so we're giving these names and numbers of how many there are in each tribe. And honestly, frankly, this could be quite boring. But what if we compared this census with the one all the way back at the beginning of the book in chapter 1? What would you expect to see in a nation of people over a period of 40 years? A healthy nation is growing. If you think of 2 to 3 kids for each family, and they grow up and they each have 2 to 3 kids, the population would be growing quite immensely, exponentially. I mean, look at the growth of your own nation from 10 years ago to what it is today, or from what it was 50 years ago to what it is today. Almost every nation on earth is growing very quickly because people have babies. Nations that are not reproducing, like Japan currently, is headed toward economic disaster if they don't start having children or bringing in immigrants. There will be no one to run the economy when the youngest people start reaching retirement age. Birth rate is very important to a country. And what we see here, I think, is quite interesting in chapter 26 as we begin looking at the numbers of these tribes. Some of them have gone up mildly, but some of them have decreased by quite a bit. That's a really bad sign for a nation that's just going into its inheritance. It's just reaching the border of the territory that it is supposed to live in and rule from. The tribe of Reuben went up by less than 3,000. The Simeonite clans went from 59,300 all the way down to 22,200. Their population was less than half in 40 years. Issachar's young men went from 64,000 to 54,000, a significant decrease. Manasseh went from 52,000 to 32,000. The Benjamites from 45,000 to 35,000. The clans from the tribe of Asher went from 53,000 to 41,000. And overall, in 40 years, there was a net gain of 2,000, roughly, young men, from 601,000 to 603,000. And so it's astounding and scary to me that this nation of Israel that was likely 2 million people, if there were just 600,000 young men, factor 1 woman, 1 child for each, you're looking at 1.8 million, that their population didn't really change in 40 years. And of course, we know it's because of all of the people who were cut short, whose lives did not fulfill their best destiny because they sinned, they grumbled, they complained, they invited plagues upon themselves. And so they did not make it to the promised land. My friends, I pray that you and I would make it to the promised land, but it needs to be in a spiritual sense. We need to attain spiritual rest. May God bless you as you ponder that. May you be inspired to celebrate the Sabbath. Sit around with your loved ones and talk. Meditate on the law. Be that tree planted by streaming, flowing, life-giving water that is spoken of in Psalms. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow.